Okay, let's go ahead and take notes. 11:09:20. I do appreciate all the comments that you've been leaving in the checking in section. I really appreciate knowing how you're doing, and also the feedback that I've been getting about me personally as your teacher. So that's been awesome. So we're talking about trapezoids today. Trapezoids. But what is a trapezoid? Well, a trapezoid is a quadrilateral that has four sides. Quadrilateral with exactly one set of parallel lines. So last week we talked about parallelograms. Well, actually, that was 2 weeks ago. And then last week was special parallelograms, the rectangle, rhombus, and square. So if, don't forget, there is a quiz this week, and we're going to go over exactly what's on your quiz. So you won't have to worry about that. And you get to use your notes and everything, so you should be fine. Okay, so what does a trapezoid look like? Well, it's got one set of parallel lines, like so. Okay. And the others do not have to be. So we call these, the top and bottom, we call them bases. So that's a base, that's a base. Sometimes we'll call it B1 and B2. It doesn't matter which one you call B1 or B2, because when we do that, we're adding them together, so it doesn't matter. And then these that connect the base are called legs. Okay. So when we look at a trapezoid, we have our base, keeps me shadows, keeps me out. Okay, and then there's a line that will connect the midpoint here and the midpoint on the other leg. This is called a median. Okay, because it goes to the midpoints. This is the median. Now, when we're talking about lengths of the base, okay, this is the length of the median, would be exactly in between as half. So let me ask you this, and it's okay to guess because you haven't been taught yet. So if I tell you that the top base is 10 and the bottom base is 20, do you have a guess as to what your median would be? You can say it out loud, or you can put it in the chat box. Guesses are always good. What do you think the length in the middle would be? Yes. So the two who put it in the chat box are correct. Okay, good. They said 15. Okay. So we know that the number in the middle of 10 and 20 is 15. But we actually have a formula because not all of them are going to be that easy to see. So it's the median, or M, is equal to 1/2 B1 plus B2. So this is where we're trying to find the length, because we'll get to angles in a few minutes. So let's plug it in. So remember, the M always goes on the left side. So M goes on the left. Now, sometimes we'll know the value of M, and sometimes it'll be M, if we're trying to find M. So we have M is equal to 1/2, base 1, base 2, 10 plus 20, or 20 plus 10. They both give you 30. So M is equal to half of 30. And so we take 30 and divide it by 2, and we get 15. So there's our median, 15. Question on that? Anything that I can clarify? Okay. Let's talk about trapezoid angles. Trapezoid angles. So remember we were talking about your trapezoids having a set of parallel lines. Well, it's been a while since we've really done parallel lines. That's okay. So if I've got those parallel lines, and we think back to our corresponding alternate interior, etc., this line actually becomes a transversal. And we could think of these lines as being extended if we wanted to. Well, if I have this angle of 60 and I wanted to find X, we would call those angles, anybody remember? Starts with an S. Kind of like our parallelograms. It's okay, it's been a while. So these are called same side interior angles, and same side interior angles have to equal 180. So these would be 60 plus X is equal to 180. So what would X be? Let me know you're still with me, guys. What's X?
120.
Nice, thank you. That's it. So we know that X is 120. Notice that opposite angles are not equal this time. And yes, thank you for putting that in the chat box. So this time, opposite angles are not equal because we don't have a parallelogram. No parallelogram. Okay, only in parallelograms do we have opposite angles equal. This is not a parallelogram. This is a trapezoid. But I could tell you that this angle is 150. What do you think Y would be? What do you think Y would be?
Would it be 30?
It would. It would indeed. So this would be 30 because these two together have to equal 180. We know that 150 plus Y equals 180. So Y equals 30. And you're done. So the same side angles of a trapezoid have to equal 180. So let's put a star by that. And actually back up here by the formula for M, let's put a star by that. Because that'll be important too. Anybody still writing? I don't actually have problems of these on your worksheet, but I will next time. I just forgot them. And it's called isosceles trapezoids. Isosceles trapezoids. When you hear the word isosceles, what do you usually think of?
A triangle.
Triangle. And that triangle has what? What's special about it?
2 right angles.
Not the right angles, but you're close.
2 equal sides.
2 equal sides. Good. Okay. So an isosceles triangle has 2 equal sides. An isosceles trapezoid has 2 equal legs. Okay. Remember with the triangle, this meant that you had 2 equal base angles. And the same is true for the isosceles trapezoid. We're going to have 2 equal base angles. So let's see what that looks like. Yeah, they don't look exactly equal, but they are. So I'm going to tell you that this side is equal to that side. And again, the angles opposite them would be equal. So these would be your base angles. Do you think that means that these top base angles would also be equal? What do you think? Yes. Let's find out. If I tell you that these base angles, let's say, are 80. So what would that top angle be? It's a trapezoid. They have to add up to be what?
180.
180. So what does that make that top angle then?
100.
100. That makes this one 100. Okay. And over here, what does that make that top angle?
100.
100, also 100. So if our base angles are equal, the top angles have to be equal too. So that's just kind of I'm all about making up a number so I can see a visual relationship, because I don't always see it with A's and B's and variables. So I have to have a real number that I can wrap my brain around. Okay, so let's do a couple sample problems. Actually, sometimes when we have trapezoids, and this isn't necessarily an isosceles one, it just happened to look like it. Sometimes they'll give you the median and you'll have to find one of the bases. So let's go back to the one that we had before, because we already know what the answer is. And we can look at it this way. So let's say I know the median is 15 and one of my bases is 20. And I'm like, well, I want to find what that base is. Okay. So we're going to use the same exact formula, that m is equal to 1/2 b1 plus b2. This time we just happen to know the m. Okay, so this is going to be our m. Where did we say the m goes? On the left or the right? left. On the left. Okay. So on the left is my m. So I have 15 is equal to 1/2. b1, it doesn't matter. We can call this one b1 or that one b1. So there's no x plus 20. X plus 20. Okay. Well, if you're like most of us, myself included, I'd rather not work with a fraction if I don't have to. So let's get rid of a fraction. So this is technically a divide by 2. What's the opposite of divide by?
Multiply.
Good. So I'm going to actually multiply both sides by 2. That will allow me to cancel those, never to be seen again. So now I have 2 times 15, or 30, is equal to x plus 20. And now we just have a simple equation. I can subtract 20 on both sides, and we get the answer we knew we would get, which is 10, is equal to x. Okay. So the difference here is m always goes on the left side, no matter if it's a variable or a number. And as long as you can keep that straight, it'll really, really help. Okay. Good point I made. Let me check. One second. Oh, okay. Yeah, that was it. Okay, so let's go on. So that's actually it for trapezoids. Now I want to tell you what is on the quiz. But before I do that, so let me make this very, very clear so that I'm putting it in the video, putting it in the notes, okay? On your assignment for trapezoids, I know you can do some of this in your head, like this last one, okay? I want you to show the formula. Even if it's like the formula and then the work, you can show the formula at the top, but give me the numbers that you used. So show the formula and work. This is very important for you to get credit. Okay, so let's move on. On your quiz number 6, check for understanding. Okay, don't forget that you get 2 tries. Some of you are not taking advantage of that and you're leaving yourself with a 50% or 60, 70% when you could be getting higher. It'll keep the highest score, so you have nothing to lose except a bad percentage. Okay. So you have 10 isosceles triangle problems. You have some that you have to find the angles, and some that you have to find the sides. Okay, this is like assignment number 22. And that you have 8 parallelogram problems. Okay. You have 4 angle problems, and you have 4 finding the sides. And then you have 2 median problems. And I'm going to specify triangle because now we're talking about median of trapezoids. Okay. So let's look at some of the types of problems that you'll see on your quiz. Anybody start writing? Let's look at isosceles triangles. I'm going to make some of the numbers really basic so that you can just understand the concept rather than get bogged down by algebra. So I'm going to tell you that this triangle has 2 equal angles. And I need some feedback here, guys. This is not all for me. This is for you. Okay. Which 2 sides are equal? The 10 and 20, the 10 and 2x minus 4, or the 20 and 2x minus 4?
The 10 and 2x minus 4.
Okay, so how do we know?
Because of the 2 angles.
Okay, because the 2 angles, so it has to be the sides opposite the angles, correct? Okay, so if I draw the arrows across, it won't be the 10, it'll be the what?
The 20.
The 20. Okay, so it's never going to be the side in between the 2 angles because that's opposite the vertex angle. So it's always the side that's not between the 2 angles, if that makes it helpful for some. Okay. So we know that these 2 are equal. And honestly, I didn't do that to you on the quiz, but I wanted to make sure that you are understanding that it's the 2 sides opposite the angles. Okay. So they only give you 2. 2x minus 4 is equal to 20. Adding 4 to both sides, we get 2x equals 24. And then dividing both sides by 2, we get x equals 12. And we'll do that. I'm going to tell you these 2 sides are equal. And the angles are 40 and x. So now we need to find x. So my first question to you would be, which 2 angles are equal? The 40 and x, the x and the blank one, or the 40 and blank one? Which 2 angles would be equal?
In the blank one.
Very good. Thank you. Yep, I can't be there to do your test for you guys, so I need you to, let's see what we can do. So if this is equal to 40, and this is equal to 40, and we can write it in. Now what do all 3 of my angles have to add up to be?
180.
180. Awesome. So we go 40 and 40. And yeah, I'd probably call it 80, but I just wanted to show my work a little better. Okay, so 80 plus x, okay, and then subtracting 80 on both sides, we get x equals 100. And you're done. And the last one for the angles. So these 2 sides are equal, 80 and x. So now my question would be, which 2 angles are equal?
X in the blank.
X in the blank. Okay. So this one and this one. So I can write in x because everything needs a value if we're going to solve this. Because I know that adding all 3 of those together needs to equal 180. So I put x plus 80 is equal to 180. So 2x plus 80 equals 180. And subtracting 80, I get 2x equals 100. And dividing both sides by 2, I get x equals 50. There are 2 problems with that angle 2 where you have to substitute that expression for angle 2. But I wanted to make sure you guys were comfortable with these kind of angle problems first because it's only 2. Okay? And I think if you're getting these, Just treat it like this, but when you get down to it, you're going to substitute that expression for angle 2 and then solve. So let's look at, what are these sides? So you guys know that if like these two angles were equal, then it would be those two sides that were equal. Yeah. So let's look at parallelograms. I'm going to tell you that this is 35, obviously not drawn to scale. This is 7x. And we need to remember that opposite angles are equal to each other, and then the others are equal to 180. So is 35 and 7x opposite each other, or would they be an other?
They're opposite.
They are opposite. Okay. I'm going to draw it. It's opposite. So these are equal. So I would say 7x equals 35. Dividing by 7, I get x equals 5. But let's say I put a y right here. How do I solve for y?
Y plus 35 equals 180.
Perfect. So I would say y plus 35 is equal to 180. And subtracting 35 on both sides, I get y equals 145. Because it's a, and then don't forget that the opposite sides of your parallelogram are equal. Okay. So opposite angles are equal, opposite sides are equal. Last little bit for your quiz. Anybody still writing? Okay. Let's talk about medians. And this is for your triangle. You're going to see two different types of problems, just like you did on the homework. If you'll go back and look at assignment numbers 22, 23, and 24, 22, 23, and 24. That is everything you need to study for the quiz, plus this. Okay. But just remember that the medians, there are only two kinds, which is like part equals part and part plus part equals the whole. So let's look at one. Okay. So they're going to tell you that this is a median. This right here would be a median. And let's label it A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D. So we've got two pieces of information that this is X and this is 10. So in the chat box, either put, so I want to know, how are we going to solve this? Are we going to add them together, or are we going to set them equal, or I don't know. So we're going to add them together to add, set them equal to each other, equal, or IDK, or I don't know. Mm-hmm. Let me see something. Need a couple more. Okay, if I don't hear you responding, okay, good. You changed your answer, that was correct. Okay. I have to kind of think you're asleep or you walked away. Okay, so if you said equal, you were correct. And let me show you why. Because what we know about these two, if this is a median, that's a midpoint. So we know that this part equals that part. So this is where we get the part equals part. When they're given to you different, okay? Given different. I'll put given difference. That's your first clue that you're going to set them equal to each other. So normally it would be like an expression, like x plus 5 or whatever. But I just did it to make a point. Oh, but they're going to tell you that BC, go ahead and write this because that's important, and CD equals 10. So you would label your parts, and then you're going to visually see, oh, I've been given both parts and they're different. I must set them equal to each other, okay? So we'd write x equals 10 and then solve, and you're done. That's a little different from the next one. So we call this A, B, C, M, improvement point. Okay. So this is my median. And I tell you that AM is equal to X and AC equals 12. So we're going to label the parts. We also know, remember, that this part equals this part. So I'm given AM. AM is X. And then I'm given AC. AC is 12. Notice that I've been giving something different here. What's different about it? Yes, it is. That would be the answer. What's different about this that I've been given? Yes. Okay, but we were given the whole side is, so the whole is 12, and I'm given a part. Okay. So there's the difference. I'm given a whole and a part rather than a part and a part. Okay. So this one, we're going to have part plus part equals whole. But what do I use for this part? If I have to add two things together to equal the whole, what am I going to put there? Somebody say it. I'm waiting to jump out. You say it in the chat box. Say it out loud. Okay. Yes, so I'm having people put it in the chat box. It is X. Okay, because we know these are equal. So whatever you put on this side, you're going to put on this side. We'd have X plus X, and probably something a little more complicated. Is equal to 12, so X equals 12, or X equals 6. And I had about 4 people put that in the chat box. That was awesome. Anything that I can clarify here with these? Does this make more sense now than it did before? You can put it in the chat box, yes or no, or about the same. Mhm. Good. Okay, so we're going to go over the assignments now. We have plenty of time. We're going to start with the review. And then we'll go to the trapezoids. Okay. So you can either bring up the review or you can print the review, which is not required. And it's only one side. So it's fairly straightforward, fairly easy. So this first part, we're talking about right triangles, a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So we're talking PT, Pythagorean theorem. And I used a little carrots for the square, and I didn't like that. So we're gonna rewrite it. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Now, I must share with you, and only a couple people did this. So, I mean, if it was you, I'm sorry. I had some students when we originally did this that thought anytime there was an X that it was the letter C, but it's not always C, because where does the hypotenuse or C have to be?
The longest side.
Longest side, and it's across from what? Where do I find it? What's its location?
Isn't it always across from that little cube thing?
Yep, exactly. The T thing, we'll call it the right angle symbol, the little box. Good. So across from the right angle sign or the box is always C. So on these four, get in the habit, just, draw an arrow, that's C. This time they're X, but over here, they're not X. They're actually just a number. That's your C. This one's a little tricky because it kind of looks weird. And it's over there, and that's your C. It doesn't matter what A and B are, because if we add 2 plus 3 and 3 plus 2, we get the same thing. So just remember, you have to know which one your C is in order to work it out. So for this one, we go 9 squared plus 9 squared equals C squared. I need to work it out. And this one, x squared plus 9 squared equals 14 squared. And if we have time, we'll come back and work it out. But for number 5, are we going to set those numbers equal to each other or add them together and equal 180?
Are equal to each other?
Yep, very good. We're going to set them equal to each other because they're opposite. They're opposite. So we know that opposite angles are equal and the others equal 180. So if you're ever unsure if it's an opposite angle or not, then like on number 6, draw your arrow across. That would be my opposite, but that's not what I'm given. Okay, so you know that these are not going to be set equal to each other because the one that's over here would be set equal to each other. So we're going to add them together and equal what?
180.
180. Good. So I do 30x plus 120 equals 180. And I have to leave some of these for you to solve because otherwise we won't get through the trapezoids. But I wanted to make sure we set up these right here. Okay, so these are back to your parallel lines. Way, way, way long time ago, seems like forever. Okay, and we have corresponding angles, same side, interior angles, alternate interior angles, and vertical angles. Do you remember which one number 9 is?
Same side?
Good, same side. This is the one we've been using for the parallelograms and for the rectangle and all the special parallelograms and the trapezoid. Okay, same side, interior. Good, so this is same side, interior angle. And is it equal to each other or equal to 180?
Equal.
This was actually the only one that wasn't equal. Remember, same side supplementary. Okay, so it equals 180. So good, I appreciate that. So, and remember, this is what we're doing with the trapezoid. We're adding these two consecutive ones together. We're even adding it over here, like this angle and this angle together and equaling 180. So try to remember that. So this one is the one that's equal to 180. And that means all the other ones are equal to each other. On number 10, do you remember which one of those angles it is? Alternate interior, vertical, or corresponding? Well, we could do process of elimination. We know that vertical always makes an X. Alternate interior means it's going to jump over the transversal, and it doesn't do that. So what's left? Okay. If I were to slide this angle down here, it would be in the same exact location. So this is what we call corresponding.
Is it corresponding?
Yes, it is corresponding. Thank you. Now we know that these are equal. These will add together and equal 180. Okay. Number 12, when it jumps over the transversal, that's an alternate interior because it's inside or in between the two parallel lines. This is your alternate interior. Right there. That was really sloppy. So alternate interior angle. That means they are equal to each other. And the two that make an X are called what? There's only one left. What's it called? Anytime two angles make an X. Well, are they going to be equal or equal 180?
Equal?
They will be equal. Good. Because remember, the only one that was equal to 180 were these. Okay. So we know that these are going to be equal.
Mm-hmm.
And they're called vertical angles.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Anybody still need that? Okay. So there's that one. Okay. So let's look at the trapezoid assignment now. You're doing good. You're doing better than I did. There it is. Okay. So let's run through these. We're going to put our formula up at the top. So median, or M, is equal to 1/2 B1 plus B2. And you can call these X, or you can call them M for median, if that makes you feel better. So where does the median go? On the left or the right?
Left.
On the left. Good. So the median goes on the left, and that equals 1/2 your base 1 and your base 2, so 12.8 plus 6.8, and now it becomes a calculator problem. Let's do the 1/2. There's 18 and 1.6, so it's 19.6. So someone on your calculator, tell me what you get. Okay, it's 19.6 divided by 2. Grab your phones. I don't say that very often. Get your calculator. Or on your tablet.
Do we see the answer?
What's that?
Do we see the answer? Or type it?
You can say it.
Oh, I got 9.8, I think.
Perfect. Yep, 9.8. Yeah, awesome. So number 3, the nicer numbers. Okay. So again, this is my M. We just said it goes on the left. So X is equal to 1/2, 50 plus 12. Okay. Notice that there's no X's in here. And so we can actually just add them together, like order of operations. So we get X equals 1/2 of 62. And what's 1/2 of 62?
31.
81. 31. 31. 31. Good. That's it. Okay. Number 5. Okay. So X is equal to 1/2, 10 plus 26, 1/2 of 36. And what's half of 36, people?
18.
Half of 36? 18. 18. Good. Okay. I see it in the chat box a couple times too. Awesome. Okay. So we're going to switch gears. If we have time, we'll come back and do those. Otherwise, you have lots of examples there. And the measure of the indicated angle. Okay. So we're going to call this X. So these are on the same side. They're not opposite, and opposite angles aren't equal anyway. Okay. So we call them same side interior angles. Same side interior angles, which are equal to 180. So many of you would probably just go 180 minus 57 and put an answer, and I get that. That's okay. But if I want you to see what I'm doing each time, I would be going X plus 57 equals 180. And then when we subtract 57, what do we get, people? can say it out loud. Subtract the numbers, guys. What do you get? This is your assignment, not mine. Okay? We're doing it together, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be doing the problems. You guys are doing the problems. So say it out loud.
$118. Oh, wait, did I subtract that wrong? Wait, hold up.
Yeah. Try it again.
Uh, 128.
123.
123? Oh, yeah, sorry.
123. You're good. 123. Awesome. Okay. So it's same thing over here. You know, what plus 70 is going to give you 180? Same idea. Okay. Flip it over. Okay. Over here. Okay, guys. Put that in your calculator. Okay, this is X. We're going to add them together and equal what?
180.
180. Okay. So what do you get? Say it out loud. I need to know you're still with me, guys. Come on.
$45.
45. Good. This was 45. Literally, you guys should be able to take about 5 minutes and finish the rest of the problems and upload them when we're done. That's literally what we're trying to do here. Okay. So then number 13, these 4 are a little tricky. So we're going to do a few of these together. Notice that they already give you this number. That's my that's the length of my median. So when I'm doing the formula, n is equal to 1/2 b1 plus b2, where do we say m goes?
On the left.
On the left. So m goes on the left. That's right here. So it doesn't matter if it goes on the right or the left, except this time it goes on the left. So it goes on left because we already have it. So we're going to have 14 is equal to 1/2 x plus 18. So these are the two that go inside. Now remember, we don't like that fraction hanging around, so we're going to get rid of it. So what do we do to get rid of it?
Multiply it by 2.
Good. Multiply both sides by 2. So let's go bye-bye. We've got 28 equals x plus 18. We subtract 18 on both sides. What do we get?
10.
10. And that's, which should make sense because if I subtract 4, I get the median. If I subtract 4 again, I should get the bottom or the other base. Let's do 15. It's a decimal, grab a calculator. Okay, grab a calculator. So my m, this is my m, goes on the left side, 21.7, 1/2 of x plus 32.9. Now, notice the difference from the other types of problems that we were doing. We would add them first and then take half. Well, this time there's an X in the middle. That's why I can't add those, but I can still get rid of the fraction. This will give me 43.4 is equal to X plus 32.9. Okay, so subtract those and tell me what we get.
I got 10.5.
Perfect. 10.5. 10.5. Okay, let's do this one that should be really easy. What do we think the answer should be? Anybody see it visually? Remember, a median's right in the middle. 22 would be right in the middle of what two numbers? 24 and okay. If you want to see it visually, I subtract 2 and get that number. I should subtract 2 and get the other number. Okay. So we think it should be 20. Well, let's double check. We're going to go 22 is equal to 1/2 X plus 24. Then get rid of our fraction. So 44 is equal to X plus 24. And when I subtract those two numbers, what do we get?
20.
20. We do indeed get 20. Okay. Questions on that? Anything that I can clarify?